It was lovely to see some of the pictures that you took yesterday of comparing the lengths and heights of different objects. Today we're going to have another go at that, and we're going to use our knowledge to help us solve some problems. Before we begin, let's warm ourselves up by recapping some previous learning. So let's begin by counting in twos. This time I'm going to point to the numbers and you can just say the missing numbers, and then we'll look at what they are afterwards. So joining in. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, this time I'm going to join in and show you the answers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay, now let's count in 5. So the same again, I'm going to point to the answer and I want you to say it out loud. Are we ready? 5, 10, 15. Okay, I'm going to join in this time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Don't worry if you struggled with that. We're going to practice that lots more when you come back to school. Number 3. How do you spell in words the number 8? If you're not sure, have a go at writing that down. Okay, let's have a look at the spelling. So it's a tricky word, that is. We have an e, I, g, t to spell 8. So it doesn't sound the way it's spelt. Next, compare. So this is what we're going to have a go at today. We're going to compare. In this question, we're going to compare some numbers. So 37 is something than 49. Is it less than or more than? So is 37 less than 49 or is 37 more than 49? Okay, it is less than 49. Let's move on to today's learning. So here we have a blue tower of cubes and a green tower of cubes. We can see those there. We have some statements here to help us decide which is taller and which is shorter. So by looking at the pictures and by counting the blue and the green cubes, can you figure out which is shorter? Is it the blue or the green? Which is shorter? We can draw a line across to help us decide that, and we can see that the blue tower is shorter and the green tower is taller. So now we're going to compare some more heights. Now remember, height is just another way of saying length, but we usually talk about height being about how tall something is. So we have some pigs here. I want you to decide who is shorter, the pig in the red t-shirt or the pig in the blue t-shirt. Who do you think is shorter? Fantastic, the blue pig is shorter. Now I have a fireman and a doctor. Who do you think is shorter, the fireman or the doctor? Fantastic job, the fireman is shorter in this example. So now we've found who is shorter. Let's look at an example and decide which is taller. So we have some cubes here and we're going to focus on that example first. Look at the cubes, count how many there are, look at their size. Which is taller, the stack of blue cubes or the stack of yellow cubes? The stack of yellow cubes is taller. We have two lighthouses here. Now, do you think this is the taller lighthouse or do you think this is the taller lighthouse? Hands up if you think this one. Hands up if you think this one. This is the taller lighthouse. Well done. Okay, one more example. We're going to look for which is shorter. So let's start with the spades. Do you think the blue or the red spade is shorter? Fantastic, the red spade is shorter. And finally, which log is shorter? Hands up if you think this log is shorter. Hands up if you think this log is shorter. It is in fact this one which is shorter. Okay. Ooh. In this question, it asks us to find which is longer and which is shorter, and we have two toothbrushes. However, I think that looks quite tricky to decide which is longer and which is shorter. So we're going to have to come up with a method to help us solve this. Now what we could do is we could draw a line anywhere on a page, and if you had that at home, you could draw a line on any piece of paper, or you could even use a ruler to make a real line. And then what you can do is you can line up your objects next to this line. That allows us to see very clearly which is longer and which is shorter, because often when they are next to each other it's hard to see which is longer and which is shorter. But if we line them up, it helps us to see their size more clearly. So hopefully now you can tell me which is longer, the blue or the green toothbrush. Excellent, the blue is the longer toothbrush and the green is the shorter toothbrush, and we line them up to help us do that. It's your turn to have a go at question 1 on the worksheet. In question 1 you simply have to tick the tallest flower, the shorter tree and the longest ribbon. Now in this problem we are comparing, but we're going to order 3 different examples. In this question we have our billy goat's gruff. So we're going to order from shortest to tallest. So I'm going to move my finger along and I want you to tell me to stop when I'm on the shortest. So, is this the shortest? Do you think that's the shortest? Okay, let's check. Yes, it is shorter than that one. So this is the shortest goat. So we've got shortest at this end, tallest at this end. We're going to have to reshuffle them. So we're checking their heights. We have the shortest. Then we have the next shortest. And finally, the tallest billy goat's gruff. And we can see that with our line. Notice how they're lined up in the same place at the bottom. Now I have an example for you. So here are 3 crayons. Now what I would love you to do, if you have crayons at home, is just choose 3 different crayons. If you don't, you can watch me and help me with my example. What we need to do is order these from longest to shortest. Now I could take a good guess about which I think is the longest from this picture, but I'm going to use my method to help me out. Can anyone remember what that is? Great, I'm going to draw a line. Now I could do that on a page, or I could get a ruler to help me line my object up. Then I'm going to line up the crayons next to this line. The first one. Excellent, so they're lined up. Now it's really clear to see which is the longest, and the longest is blue. So I can put that at the longest end of my ordering. The next smallest is yellow, and the smallest or the shortest is brown. So you can see by lining up the objects, I can easily compare the different sizes. So I've got lots of different animals here, and we're going to do some problem solving about the size or the height of these animals. So the cat is taller than the... Can you tell me who is the cat taller than? The cat is taller than the tortoise and the chick. So well done if you said either one of those. They are both correct. The next one, the horse is shorter than. So there's the horse. Who is the horse shorter than? Okay, the only one the horse is shorter than is the giraffe. Excellent, we can see that lined up, and the giraffe is much taller. Okay, now I want you to think of a word that finishes this sentence. The giraffe is the... Can you think of a word to finish that sentence? The giraffe is the tallest. Okay, so now we know that word is tallest. Can you think of another one to finish this sentence? The chick is the... Okay, the chick is the shortest, or you could have said smallest as well. So well done if you managed to get that right. That is some excellent problem solving. I want you to use your knowledge now to solve questions 2 and 3 on your activity sheet. In question 2, you have some different trains, A, B and C. There are some sentences with letters missing, and it's your job to try and fill them in. I'll read them to you. C is longer than. Can you figure out which one C is longer than? And then you have to decide which is the longest train and which is the shortest train. Now question 3 is a bit of a challenge, so I'm going to show you how you might want to solve it. As you can see, we have some sentences that we need to fill in the missing name, and we have some children here who we are going to compare the heights of. We have Annie, Rosie and Mo, but as you can see their heights are very similar. Just by looking at it with my eyes, it's very hard to tell who is the tallest and who is the shortest. So I'm going to show you what you can do on your piece of paper to help you compare the heights. I have a ruler here which is going to help me with my job. Now it doesn't matter what ruler you have because we're not actually using the measurements. Really anything with a straight line would work for this activity. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to figure out who is the tallest. So I'm going to have a think about who I think might be the tallest. I think Rosie might be the tallest. So to double check that, I'm going to line my ruler up at the top of her head. I'm going to draw a line, and there I can see that nobody else is taller than her. Next I'm going to see is the next tallest. Now it's really hard to tell between Annie and Mo, so I'm going to choose Mo, okay, and we're going to see who is taller. So if I draw a line on Mo, it's top of his head, and a line on Annie's, even though they're very similar, I can now see who is the tallest out of Mo and Annie. Whoever's line is high, I can see Mo is slightly taller than Annie. So that is a way that we can compare heights easily and compare lengths. We can also check that they're lined up correctly at the bottom just in case. And we can see that they're all lined up correctly. We can use this to compare any length or height, this method. So I hope that helps you. Good luck with your challenge today. When you've done, you could also compare the height of the people that live in your house and order yourselves from tallest to shortest.